How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I think there was some technical stuff which was going on.
Yeah, it's
So my apologies for being a little delayed. Is it okay now?
Welcome to our show, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so, sir, we have a few questions for you. Firstly, would you like to tell us about your journey till now?
So till now, the journey had been pretty excited, and I'm really happy what I did in my life by now. So I started my career when I was 19 years old, and I started with a bank job in ICICI Bank. The good thing had been that I chosen the right job role at the initial stage of my life, and that has given me a lot of progress in my life. And I became country head in Reliance Capital Group Company when I was age of 29. So the journey had been pretty good, and I'm pretty happy. However, I have hunger for much more, and I have much bigger plan going forward.
Okay. So, sir, our question is, as you were the ex-country head of Reliance Group company at the age of 30, whereas other people take like to the age of 50, and you have covered the leap of 20 years. So, can you give me a critical substance factor of your success?
So personally, I think the God had been pretty kind to me. My family, my friends, they all been pretty kind because I always believe if your morning 6 to 9 is not good, then your 9 to 6 will never be good. And morning 6 to 9, I always spend with my family and my friends. So they have been pretty kind. So that's on personal ground. However, professionally, I think there are 2 or 3 factors, which probably I can say probably the critical success factor behind my whatever I have achieved in my life. One, that I started my career very, very early. And I focus on learning on ground rather than going only into academics. So I started at the age of 19, one. Number two, I have chosen the right industry at the right time. And that too with the right job role. Because that time when 2002, we started our career, I think the private sector banking was on a booming stage. So it was the right industry to begin the career. So that timely entry in that industry, that too with the right job role, what we call as sales. And I'm very pro sales. I like that business term because every entrepreneur who is doing business, he's a salesman. In fact, I believe we all are salesmen at some point of time. Right? So that job role has actually made a difference in my life. So I think that was a reason for that. Thirdly, I think I believe that at early age of 21, I got a very large exposure of team management. So when I was 21, I had a team of 300 people. And most of the people maybe double of my age that moment of time. So I had a diverse learning from various age groups. I was learning from the people who were reporting into me, and I was learning from people who were younger to me. So I had a diverse range of learning, and probably that is the reason behind my success. Because once you understand how to deal with the people, or you understand the art of dealing with the people, then you are sorted in life, at least from a management perspective. So couple early start. Number two, early exposure of team management, and probably right job role, what I call sales. Right, the combination of all three on these professional front has made me what I am today.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you for your insight on your past life. Also, I'm sure that being the youngest country head of Reliance must be a quite pressure on you. However, did the board ever give the benefit of your young age in comparison to your colleagues in business vertical who were nearly 40 to 50?
नहीं यार, वो तो कभी नहीं मिला. बल्कि I always used to have a higher pressure because I was young. I had a good connect with the team. I had a lot of energy. Right, so they always put me कि यार वो लोग तो retirement age के अंदर है. I think we expect much higher numbers from you. So push. So they keep me pushing high, and probably I'm thankful to all people in my life who were my seniors at that moment of time that they pushed me so hard, and that had made me what I am today. So I never got that leeway, to be very frank.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that push only has gotten to you to where you are today.
Absolutely, you are right. Yeah.
Leaving the hefty salary of 7 digits and starting up a new venture all the way from scratch is always a challenge, right? So how did you cope up with the struggle, and what all crucial decisions you had to come across and pass through the important journey of your life from a job mindset to an entrepreneur mindset?
So I'll give you a difference between both the mindset. What is a job mindset and or I'll say a Naukri mindset. and what is an entrepreneurial mindset. So in Naukri mindset, you always have one reason of not doing the things. You will go to your boss, you will tell him good stories about why you have not done this, right? But on the entrepreneurial side, you will never find one reason. You will only have one reason, that I am an entrepreneur, I have to solve this problem. Because being a businessman, it is your duty to solve the problem. And that is what the business we are in. We have to solve the problem, what a customer wants and what we are producing, what service or what product, whatever it is, right? So we have to solve the problem. So ultimately, we have to see that entrepreneurial mindset will never say no to anything. So to move from a Naukri mindset, where I also used to have some excuses of not doing the things at some point of time, right, to entrepreneurial mindset is very, very different. The mindset is different, number one. And trust me, it was probably the second most tough decision of my life after my marriage, to quit a job and leave a hefty salary of a huge number and get into a venture. However, I believe if someone is looking for that mindset, they need to ask two questions to themselves. Number one, that what is their learnings in their career by now? Because if you have a job mindset and you're not learning in your job, then that job is merely a Naukri. It will not give you a career. It will not give you a career for sure, right? So if you have good learning of 7, 8, 10 years, and you want to take a chance being an entrepreneur, and also your sixth sense says that I can do it, then of course you can take a chance for that line. But it is one of the toughest decisions for you, for sure, for anyone for that matter.
Yeah, so sir, is there anything that motivated you towards it, like taking this decision? Or was it your drive that wanted to?
So my drive had been that I want to do something bigger in life, because I always had that leeway of starting early at the age of 19. Probably that is, and I want to capitalize on it, because every individual had his own strength. I had that strength and I want to build on. Because when I left Reliance Capital, probably I was 34-year-old, right? And I thought, if I fail, I'll come back to corporate world. Age is on my side. So I took that calculated risk. And with God's grace, I think I need not to think back of going back to a Naukri mindset again. And I'm being happy with an entrepreneur.
That's amazing, sir. So now you are an entrepreneur and very much successful at a very young age compared to others. So did this success go to your heart or to your mind? Generally, the world takes an early success to their mind. So what is your take on it?
So I think success always goes into my heart, because it creates happiness within me and my family and my friends, right? Because I always learn from my father, and he keeps saying it, that the day your success goes to your mind, your decline starts next day. And as I told you, I have much more hunger going forward. I don't want to rest, right? So I'm sure that success will never go to my mind. It will always go to my heart to create happiness for me and for people around.
Yeah, I totally agree to what you say. Spoken about the past, now if anyone who wants to begin their career in post education, what all points do they need to keep in mind while starting their career?
So if you're starting your career, you have to choose two things very rightly. Number one, you have to be in the right industry. Number two, you have to be in a right job role. This is what I did when I started my career, and I think I reaped good benefits out of it, right? So industry makes a difference. Say example, we define industry in two parts. One industry, which is a reach-based industry or product-based industry. Another industry is knowledge-based industry. I'll give you example of both. Say example, Amit Jain is working in a pharmaceutical company who made bukhar ki dawai Crocin, right? Even if I leave the company, will it impact the sale of Crocin? No, it will not. The Crocin will continue to sell in the market. But if I'm working in a knowledge-based industry called, say, banking or financial market industry, or I'm working in an information technology industry, or something which is knowledge-based or KPO-based, if I'm working in that industry, I'm sure leaving Amit Jain will make an impact on the company. So you are much more valuable in your career. So when you are starting your career, you need to be very clear that which industry you are getting into. If you are getting into a product-based industry, then you have to be very clear that your growth will be limited to a certain extent. If you're getting into a knowledge-based industry, then of course your career is a sky, based on that how much hunger you have for knowledge and how much hunger you have for business. You can create number of times of it, right? So you have to be very careful of the industry. Then the job role, because merely a industry will not help. A job role also matters, right? So example, if in bank I had an option to start my career either with the sales or in the operations department, right? Had I chosen the operations department, then my career wouldn't have been so fast, because any function apart from sales, be it operations, be it compliance, be it risk, be it finance, be it marketing, or being anything else, that is subjective. And your annual appraisal depends on your boss. If your boss does not like your face, he can screw up your appraisal and it will stop your growth. In numbers, in sales, I'll say your number are your boss. If you do well, irrespective of your boss does not like your face, he'll say, boss, this guy has to go on because the number is backing you up, right? So if you choose the right job role in the right industry, then I think sky is the career for you.
Of course, I agree to what you said. Knowledge has no bounds.
Yeah, knowledge-based industry and reach-based industry or product-based industry.
Yeah. Okay, so however, some people who still want to start their own business now or want to shift from a job mindset to entrepreneur mindset, what career advice would you give to them?
So I think again, I'll say they have to ask two questions. Number one, are they prepared? And the best answer, I can give advice anything because I am an advisor, I can advise. But I think they have to ask themselves, are they prepared for being an entrepreneur? Because entrepreneur mindset is completely different from a Naukri mindset. Right? You don't have excuses. Even in COVID-19, right? If you are an entrepreneur, you cannot stop salary of your employees. Employee can come back to you, sir, I cannot do business because there is a lockdown. But as an entrepreneur, do you have a leeway to say that I will not pay your salary?
Of course not.
Right? So unless you have that change in your mindset, that I have to make it happen at any cost, no matter what, then you should not try out entrepreneurship for sure. Number one. Number two, if you get this answer right, that yes, I can take that risk, then you have to check up that whatever knowledge you have gathered in last 7, 8, 10 years of experience, that will that knowledge help you to get into your venture? Because if you are getting into a completely different venture, that may not be useful. Number three, you have to see your network. That what is the network of your business? Who will be your client? Who will be your distributor? Which market you are going to operate in? Who is your customers? Right? You have to see all these factors in mind, because I always believed your network is your net worth. Right? So if you have a good network, then you have a good net worth and you are a good entrepreneur that way. So if you have these affirmative answer for these three questions, then of course you can take a ride on your being an entrepreneur.
Of course. Another question I have is, how did your earlier career choices lead you to where you are now?
So career choices has been very clear. One, so two learnings. One, that you have to focus not on product, you have to focus on business. What I've seen in banking industry, there are a lot of people who keep focusing throughout their life that I'm learning how to open a current account, how to open a saving account, how to sell mutual fund, how to sell AIF or PMS. They keep learning, but they never got into the business psyche of it. That how these products make revenue, how much revenue I'm generating for the company, why company is going to reward me. So I think that's a different one. So you really want to get grow, then you have to have a mindset of an entrepreneur, where you always see that boss, what I'm creating, what I'm offering to the company. If I'm asking anything from the company in return, am I generating enough revenue for the company? If yes, then I think that's good to go. So these things, I think you have to be very careful. And I was very careful when I was started my career. I used to ask at what I am giving to the company rather than keep demanding from them. And I was lucky. Probably I was lucky that I keep doing good and I keep getting reward from the company. I become a country head at such an early age. And it's all because of performance, because sales numbers speak louder than you. It is not subjective.
Yeah. Also, I would like to tell everybody, Amit sir is also an amazing motivational speaker. So my next question is about motivational speaking. What or who inspired you to be a motivational speaker?
So for motivational speaker, I think my elder brother is an idol for me in my life, because whatever I have learned, what I have observed, I observed in him. So I think he's a live example for me. So I keep studying his life and keep motivating myself and keep motivating my team, being an entrepreneur, because I think you have to have some role model in front of you which you can see and follow. So my brother motivated for me. One. Number two, uh, motivational speaker is not suffice. You have to be a motivational believer. So there's a difference between motivational speaker and motivational believer. So I'm a motivational believer. I believe what I say and I do what I believe in. Right. So little different, but that's how the journey had been by now.
Okay, so like, is there something you love about the art of public speaking?
Yeah, I think it's just because once you practice it in your day-to-day life, I think you will get to know this art. Because I think important art is not public speaking is of course an art, but I think important art in life is to deal with the people. So what I've observed in my career is the same person, a same individual, will behave differently at different point of time in the same situation. If you understand that psyche, why he do so, how why he's doing so, and you can get that knack of it, and if you can handle it or you can understand it, I'm sure you are here for a big career. Coming back to the art of public speaking, I think that automatically comes once you interact with people and you practice it. It comes by default.
Of course. Also, talking about the recent times of COVID and the pandemic, how has COVID affected the industry you work in?
So trust me, it's a mindset belief, and I think we are pretty happy, not for COVID for sure, because that's a very severe negative impact on the humanity. But our business has grown by almost 60 to 70% year-on-year basis, because what is happening is that business environment is very uncertain nowadays, and people are feeling that my business will not give me a return for next 6 months to a year time. So what they are keeping is they are packing all their money into investment options, something like mutual fund or fixed deposit or bonds, because they are packing their money, because they are not using that money into business. So for us, on our business side, I think it is growing with leaps and bounds for us. Not impact for our industry, at least for our company, I can assure you.
That's amazing. I have a last question. Before that, I would like the audience to like type out questions if you all have for sir. So after this question, we'll take questions from the audience.
Sure.
Yeah. So my last question is, what venture would you like to have in the education industry in India?
I think I tried answering it in my answers previously. If I want to get anything into education industry, I would like to have a venture for career counseling or corporate career connect. Because what we have seen in last 17, 18 years or 13 years of my corporate career, whenever we go to a campus, we don't find good quality of candidates who are being trained for what we want, the level we want. And candidates always has that complaint that we never get a job. So there is a huge gap between what our institutes at PGDM level produce and what we demand in corporates. So I would like to bridge that gap, probably with the right corporate career connect, that you can counsel people that what skill need to be there if you really want to be in a corporate side. If you really want to have a successful corporate career in India or abroad, that what all skill you need to develop. So I would like to have a venture there some point of time. That's a wishful thing.
Okay.
For career, for education industry specifically.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Now the floor is open to questions from the viewers. We have one question till now. How would you like to incorporate entrepreneurship in the Indian education system?
Entrepreneurship in the Indian education system.
Yes.
I think there is no point of rolling out entrepreneurship in the Indian education system. You all have to be an entrepreneur. What is the job of an entrepreneur is? The job of an entrepreneur is to solve the problem. If we all become entrepreneurs and we solve our own problems, then life is sorted. Particularly if this question is for education industry, then I can always say there's a lot of reforms required at education industry, right? There has to be clear-cut guidelines for the career. So I think when I believe in, what I wish to create it, if I speak to a 12th standard student in a school, he should be knowing it, that what career I want to go, which industry I want to go, which job role I want to go, what is the beginning salary of that industry and job role is, and what is the end salary where I'll get saturated. If this guy know in 12th, then I think he's sorted for his life.
Okay.
Today, even a PGDM student don't know which industry they want to choose in. Even if they choose in the right industry, then what job role they need to get into, right? So there's a lot of dichotomy because no one trained them. So ideally for me, if you want to see that what India or what Indian academic system I want to see is, a 12th student should be knowing it, that this is my habit by now, or this is my hobby. Say I'm good in sport. Only for example, I'm giving it to you. Or I'm good in maths. So if I'm good in maths, if I make my hobby as my career, then which industry will give me a break? Which job role in that industry will give me a break? Right? What will be the starting salary of that job? And what will be the end salary where I'll get saturated for that salary? If a guy knows it in 12th class, then I think his life is clear. There is no confusion in life. So this is how we can create more entrepreneurship mindset at an academic level as well.
Okay, so the next question is, how do you reduce the career gap? How can students improve?
Come again, I missed out the question.
How to reduce the career gap, and how can students
I think
improve?
it is only by focusing skills, because what I have seen is that in PGDM, people more focus on product knowledge. They don't focus on behavioral science, which is important because when we go for sales, we are talking about the financial market, then I think product knowledge play only 10% of the role. 90% is how do you handle the psyche of the investor, right? If you don't handle, because knowledge to sabhi ke paas hai. Who does not have a knowledge? You go on Google, you become master of everything. But if you are not able to express that knowledge rightly and not able to convince that investor that why to invest or why to exit, then I think that knowledge is a waste. So that skill, that behavioral science need to be understood, which is not there in the current curriculum of the PGDM institutes in India. So I think that need to be worked out. So there have to be more focused groups, which should focus more on role playing of a corporate simulation or a corporate simulation or customer simulations in different roles. For example, one customer is very psychic. He is very negative mindset. One is very positive. One is very knowledgeable. One is least knowledgeable. How to handle those customers? And there should be more role playing in PGDM institutes talking about it so that they can be trained for the upcoming career in their corporates.
Of course.
That's how we can do it in this line.
Yeah. Also, the next question is, how did you get a job at 19?
I was lucky, so I think credit goes to my father for this. So honestly, I passed out from a government school in Daryaganj, Delhi. I think if someone knows Delhi, I passed out from Daryaganj. So we had a trust school, which is owned by us. So I was 3 years old when I got into first class.
Oh.
So probably that 2 years early has actually played a lot of good things in my life. And I was early in my first class, so I was early in my career and I was early in everything. So I think that was sheerly a luck factor and my father need to be given credit for it, not me.
That's amazing. Also, sir, your journey has been, somebody says your journey has been really inspiring. Could you throw some light on how to deal with failures?
Only thing is, okay, so I'll give you a very simple answer. Whenever you get failed, you need to answer yourself. Is it because of lack of your efforts, one, lack of your knowledge, or it was a hard luck? If it was a hard luck, you should relax and try it again. If it was lack of effort or lack of knowledge, then you have to work harder to make it happen next time.
Yeah,
I think can be more simpler than this to answer this question. You have to bifurcate in two parts. One, is it a luck factor or is it an effort factor? And you have to ask yourself, because you know yourself well, that how much effort did you do for that particular goal.
Yes. Also, does the economy also play an important role for career path?
Sorry, come again.
Does the economy of a country also play an important role for career path?
100% they play it. So each economy has its own time, right? So 1920s, if you go to before 1920s, Britain was ruling the world. Britain was ruling probably the 40% of the world countries. Post World War II, it was US which has come into picture and become a superpower house, right?
Yes.
So had you been in Britain before 1920, you would have been rich. If you would have been in US post 1971, probably you would have been rich, right? So economics certainly play a role into this. So what I always say, that it has to be, if you really want to have a successful career in your life, it has to be a right economy, right industry, right business model, and right job role. If you get all these four combination in one go, then I can promise to anyone there is no U-turn. Then the only thing is required is your own commitment and your own hunger.
Yes.
So it play a role for sure.
Okay. Next question is, at what age do you plan to retire and give back to the society?
Retirement from work can be after say around 45, because I have different plans in life. So it's still 8 years away, because I have different fantasies for different phase of life. So by 45 from work, for sure.
Yeah, and like how do you plan to give back to the society?
So I think my way of giving back society is only reform the education system in India, because I think there is a huge gap, the talent what we see in India and talent abroad. I always find no one is more liberal than Indians. I can promise for it. We are a good English speaking population, which score us over Chinese, right? And we have a lot of positive side. We have good value system, right? We have loyalty, we have commitment, we have hunger, we have good skill set. The only thing is lacking of opportunities. So at some point of time, I would like to connect those global opportunities to Indian students by reforming the academic system of India, some point of time. What I talk about mostly at PGDM status, at the PGDM stage. So they should know that what job role they want to get into, what industry you want to get into, and if I can connect those dots, that is the way probably I want to give it back to the society and out of my learnings.
Of course. What new can one start in the post-COVID era down the line in 5 years? 5 years ahead.
So I think the people need to understand that post-COVID, people have to invest only in those businesses which are asset-light model. Asset-light model, where you have to invest least capital. And those ideas has to be least capital driven. They have to be more on ideas. They have to be more based on your network and your network, right? If you get into a very asset heavy business model, then I think it is very difficult to sustain that business from here on. Because Indian economy also passed through 3 phases. If you go to Indian economy from 1950s to 1980s, it was an agri-based economy. 1980s to 2000, India was an industrial-based economy, because land was very cheap. Plant and machinery you import, because dollar rupee rate was close to 35, not 80, what we see now, right? You can import machinery very well, but at a very much cheaper cost. You had a huge land parcel which is available to you at a much cheaper rate, what we see today, right? So there were a lot of factors which made India industrial economy from 1980s to 2000. Post 2000, we have seen India is led by service sector, which is like banking sector, which has come into play, where we started our career. IT sector start taking a big leap post 2000 or post Y2K problem. So that's how the sector shift. The same way, if you see the asset heavy model of 1990s, if you start opening the industry today at a current price of the dollar rupee rate, at the current price of the land which is available, you will not be able to do a business for sure, because your cost of setting up that business is too high. So as a beginner, you should focus on more on idea driven businesses, more IT enabled businesses, and which are least in capital infusement. That's how you need to create your model.
Okay. We'll take around 4-5 more questions. Sir, which is the better option to get into corporate? Is it first doing MBA and then getting into job, or getting some job experience, after bachelor's and then doing MBA?
I think before MBA, you should have 2-3 year experience before you get into an MBA, so that you can connect your learning on the job with your academic qualification or whatever you study in your PGDL. There has to be a 2-3 year gap, and it need to be a relevant job role. This role should not be check clearing job role or doing some other role which is operation. It has to be more customer facing role, which will teach you much more than any other role in any of the organization.
Of course. Also, is crowdfunding a good option for startups?
Depend. I think it's very specific answer to. I cannot generalize that answer. I think it is a good idea for sure, but I think it all depend at that what is a startup business model is all about. What is the promoter thought process when they want to dilute their equity and other stuff. So it is very specific to that startup. We cannot generalize that answer.
Also, when do you think India would become a developed country?
By 2050 for sure, the way we are. And if there is a war between China and US, I'm sure we can be developed economy by 2030.
That's amazing. Also, like this is a question from me. This is the last question. I don't think we have other questions. What is the best career advice you've ever received?
Focus to have result-oriented approach rather than effort-oriented approach. Because effort does not matter if it is not coincided with your results. So you have to focus on result. So I always believed in, and it was a quote in my email, efforts are appreciated, but only results are awarded. So if you want to get an award, you have to have a result. If you really want to get appreciation, then effort is good to go. So choice lies with each one of us.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for such an amazing insight to your journey and your life. Also, I would like to thank the audience too for staying till here. I would like
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to ask everybody to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Mr. Akshat Mittal, the founder of Bharat Shramik. And yeah, thank you so much, sir, for all this information.
Thank you. I thank everyone who has joined this session. I'm sure I'm able to add value to them. I'm able to help them in their life. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
I don't know about everybody, but of course, I've got a lot of knowledge from you today. And
yeah, thank you.
Forward to more of this.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.